Hi, my name is Erin Khan, and welcome to another Contact Coffee Chat where we talk about, you guessed it, construction tech and other fun stuff in AEC. Our topic today is training sucks. Let's get into it. So, when I picked this topic, I had written down, some ideas and I saw on a list just training sucks and opened up to expecting to see, some notes, some other thoughts, and just nothing. Bhragan, I see you laughing. I think it's something that we can just all relate to is that kind of getting into training for anything in AEC, not just tech, is like a super painful process. And yeah, that's what I want to dive into today.
Yeah. And also it's stale. Like I remember my onboarding training when I started. It was like really corporate stale videos and inductions and it just sucked. And like I mean I can't
It
say on the
just sucked.
implementation
Yeah.
tech side, but I feel like a lot of people, training is its own skill and being engaging is its own skill and people just kind of go use my product. Here's the minimum to use my product. So it's kind of sucks and is boring.
Yeah. I think gosh, there's so many different perspectives here that I'm like, I need to jump in immediately and share some thoughts. But I'll first start with just general company training, right? So there's a set list of stuff that you need to know. You're getting up to speed in the organization. How do you find the information you need quickly, efficiently, without, it being too painful? And it's just tough. A lot of construction companies I've noticed as well, they don't even have an LMS system, so like learning management content system. So at best, it's maybe like, oh, hey, we posted some videos on our SharePoint and we'll call it good. Or maybe we have a Word doc saved
Did you ever watch
somewhere
them?
in a
Like,
drive.
honestly, have you ever watched a training video of your own accord and not because you were forced to?
Of my own accord? That is a really good question. Yes, but with the caveat that it was to like accomplish something that was urgent that I didn't know before, so I just had to find more information and kind of scramble to pick up the skill or the information. Or just something where I was maybe like expanding into a new project and needed to learn a little bit more just to be successful. Yeah. But for the most part, you're 100% right. People only do the training they're required to do, that they're, told, okay, you have to take this quiz and make sure you get the certificate and all that.
Yeah. But I think it's also like a statement on the development of training. Even the people developing training are going, yeah, people are only watching this because they have
Yeah.
to. And that's why it sucks.
Yeah, kinda. I think a lot of times for construction, particularly, like the teams are just going a million miles an hour in the field, and nobody has time or thinks they have the time to set aside and just spend a few minutes here and there getting knowledge and learning. So it's just so painful, especially from like that field perspective too. So maybe it's actually good stuff, and if it is up to date, awesome, but there's still so many barriers for teams to access it efficiently.
So what are those? So what are the barriers, one? And then two, what do you think good training would actually look like?
Yeah, so gosh, what are the barriers? So just the platform delivery is tough. I think there are some good examples out there where some contractors who have maybe a few more resources on the L&D side, they do have a learning management platform and they're being smart, right? They're able to deliver bite-sized content. So it's kind of funny to make this analogy, but it's like, the TikTok format for construction people, because like you're not gonna spend an hour sitting in a training to learn how to maybe send an RFI on a new platform. Like you just want to know, okay, what are the clicks I need to do to get from point A to point B and just move on with my day. So that short form training can kind of help with that barrier. I think another as well is just getting the right content to the right people. So not everybody needs to take the same training, making it personalized for roles. And then with especially with new technology tools, which the focus of this is construction tech. It's also a huge barrier because teams just won't show up to the training unless you like really handhold them and force them into it. So you kind of have to have like a key person on the site that will be like, hey, so and so, like, come into the office and hop on this call, or, come into the session and learn something new today. So it's kind of getting the hype going for learning. That's really hard.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
goes back to everyone says people's attention spans have lowered, but I just think that actually the content sucks and we have more competition for content. So everyone's going to be viewing the content that engages with them. And that content is, I would much rather watch a YouTube video than watch my company onboarding video.
Mm,
I mean, I'm watching the company onboarding video because I have to. And then think about it, how many people just
yeah.
like play it on the background because
Yeah.
that's what they have to do and they
And
have to check a
do something
box.
else on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
to your point on like delivery mechanism and meeting people where they are, how many people are like mapping what the field needs, what the content strategy around that is, and then what's the vehicle and medium for meeting that content strategy? L&D in construction is consistently thought of as a nice to have and you learn on the job. And then for me, it's like, how do you progress in your career? Like we don't know because we you don't get that training support in a handheld way.
And I think too, with like training, learning and development, and just like delivery of knowledge, it's becoming, in my mind, like one of the most essential things to our industry because we're just losing, we're like bleeding out experience and historic knowledge and the reason about why we do things in the field, in the trades. Like, so being able to capture a lot of the historical knowledge from our tenured builders who are, leaving the industry for one reason or another, it just puts a spotlight more on good learning and development as one of those foundations for our people. Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's a good point you say, because the conversation I had on L&D was most people aren't listening or watching that content, but the people who are probably your top performers. So you're
Mm,
making your top performer even better, which like maximizes and multiplies their impact because the top performer is going, yeah, like I want to listen to a podcast of what my CEO or what the innovation person is doing. And that makes a huge difference. So it's like, who is your target audience who's reasonably going to actually want to watch this?
100%. Some more thoughts on training as well. Good training is hard to come by. So, like customizing it for your company processes, getting somebody who can like be excited about delivering the content if it's, a live session or otherwise. So, yeah, I think it's something that we'll have to figure out for the industry together.